Hey guys, it's Miss Mariscale. I'm here to introduce your rough draft for your final variety project. So let's get going. First, I just wanted to flash back to things we've already done. We talked about Mr. Doodle and we did a discussion post about him. We also did, we watched a video about 5 ideas of how to get ideas for drawing. We did a discussion post about that. We also did a little bit of drawing practice with Doug Neal in our sketchnoting assignment. And then we also played a little quick draw and we did a little bit of expanding on how to draw each item multiple different ways. All 4 of these assignments were graded. They were 10 points each and they are weighted in your final grade. So please make sure you have all 4 of these assignments done before you start your rough draft. This week, our mission is we are creating a rough draft of our final variety project. In the slides I'm about to show you, I will introduce the requirements and demonstrate different strategies for success. Here is how to start your rough draft. So for those of you who feel like you have a really good handle on this, I want you to do these 5 things in order, and then you can go ahead and get started and pause the video once you get through. If you feel like you need a little bit more help or you get a little bit confused, keep watching and hopefully I'll answer your question for you. But first thing, please make sure you view all of the resources that are available on our Schoology page before you dig into the project. A lot of you are really quick to just start and then you miss things. You're missing details about the project that are important. So please make sure view all our resources in Schoology first. 2, you're going to choose an approach. I'll go over that in a little bit. 3, gather your ideas. A lot of you are really good at coming up with ideas really quickly. Some of you need a little bit of help. That's where that Kesh video comes in that we watched, those 5 ideas, and we'll review those in just a little bit. You'll sketch out your rough draft with all of its details. It's okay if things are messy, and you're going to post a video or a photo of your rough draft in the media album on Schoology. Resources that are available to you in Schoology. Old assignments, rely on them. If you want to take things directly from your old assignments and include them in your final drawing, totally fine. I have a folder of drawing prompts available to you to get inspiration from. If you need help figuring out things to draw, they're available. WordDraw is an app you can download on your device. It spits out random words for you to draw, but please make sure you ask your family first. I have a demonstration, a short little video clip of me starting my rough draft. I did 2 versions, so you can watch those as well. I'll show them to you in this video. And then this presentation is also a resource for you as well. So please feel free to go back and rewatch this multiple times. This time, if you ask me a question and I know for sure that I answered it in this presentation or in this video, I'm going to send you in the direction of these resources instead of answering them outright, okay? That's a skill you need to build, especially seeing as we're probably going to be relying a lot on virtual learning in the future. Choices in approach. This is kind of a tricky thing to explain, so bear with me. I'm going to slow down just a minute here. This is our variety project. There are so many ways to make a piece of art about variety. For example, take a look at this cool thing behind me. This is my tapestry, and this features variety because look at all of the different items in this. There's lots of color. Actually, there isn't. There's white, orange, and blue. Not a lot of color. But there's animals, there's plants, there's lots of texture, there's things in the clouds. If you were to tilt my computer down, you'd see there's lots of foliage at the bottom. It has a lot of variety. That's why I like it behind me, because it's kind of interesting. However, that's not the only way to show variety. For example, you can think about it like Mr. Doodle does, where he fills an entire space or page with doodles from corner to corner, edge to edge, top to bottom. It's all completely full and there's no white space left over. That would be a full page doodle. Some of you are really excited about drawing that way. That's totally cool. Go for it. Here's an example to illustrate that. Remember, full page doodles can be abstract. They can be objects. They can be creatures. They can be lots of different things, okay? Pattern sets. Pattern sets are a little bit more abstract. That would be more like this stuff in my tapestry where it's you can kind of tell what it is, but maybe it's not something you can name. If you decide to do a pattern set, please keep in mind that on your page, there should be at least 2 to 3 different patterns being repeated all over the place, not one pattern that sprawls across the entire page. Some of you have been really into that TikTok drawing where it's lots of like lines that curve and they make kind of those bead forms that all strung together. I'm not looking for that for this one. Okay, that would have been good for repetition. That's not good for this project. So don't do those types of things here. This is an example of pattern set, and we'll look at it in more detail in a little bit. And then finally, we have nouns, okay? So I want you to try to create a landscape or a person or an object of some kind that features variety as the focus. So here in this example, you can see there's lines and designs that are filling up all the different aspects of the landscape. There are trees that have patterns. The background is a pattern with the sky that has a pattern in it. And then the ground is also filled with different patterns. I'm going to show you some more detailed examples here. So this would be a full doodle page. You can see 3 different approaches to it. One is completely full color. It's all drawn in the same style. So even though all the items seem pretty random, they're all drawn the same way. That's the thing that unites them. Okay. This one here is more united by theme. It's all about creativity and loving art. They used words in this, which is totally on the table. And the words are all different ways. It's all different types of font. And then here is all black and white, kind of like the Mr. Doodle style. However, I want to point out things are not just left as lines. They are filled in. So there are some things like hair pieces that are filled in or faces that are filled in totally solid. A lot of things like the letters have line work in it that makes it look like it's more of a gray. I'm going to be expecting your final piece to have fill. It doesn't necessarily need to be in color. We're going to take a look at pattern sets next. So I'm going to go up here in the corner. These are all different examples of pattern sets. These are all totally acceptable ways to go with this project. You can see these first 2 examples, the artist used watercolor or another type of paint in the background. Some of you have those Copic markers or alcohol-based markers where you can put down a little background color, and then you can go ahead with gel pens or something else and draw back on top if you'd like. Totally fine. These are just abstract patterns. They don't have a name necessarily. They're not items you can reach out and grab. But you can see there's multiple patterns being used on both items, this one here and this one here. This is an example of a pattern set just done in a different way. It looks more like an object, but it's still not something you can totally name. And there's fill again here. There's a black and white example. They're filled in solid areas. There are areas that are filled in with little dots or some lines, some hatching. Again, in your final piece, I'm going to be expecting color or fill in black and white. Keep that in mind. And here are the nouns, okay? Same kind of ideas here, except these are all applied to people, places, or things. So for the people, the person I have all the way over here on the right, it's not technically a full page doodle because there is naked space kind of in this area here. I kind of like those because it gives your eyes a little bit of time to rest. But you can see lots of different patterns repeated down in the dress here. Things, animals are a great source of inspiration for this project. You can see lots and lots of spiraling designs over here. They included some words, and then the bird is actually a little bit separate from the variety. Again, not a full page doodle because there's some naked space that gives your eyes a little bit of rest. We also have a landscape here. This landscape, again, is not a full page doodle because there's naked space. However, there's fill. It's black and white and things are filled in with patterns that are different sizes, okay? Same thing here in this black and white area. Everything is filled in. It looks like they did lots of drawing with marker or pen and then shaded in with pencil afterwards. So they're expecting fill or color or a little bit of both. I just wanted to remind you guys of Kesha's 5 ways to get sketch ideas. Drawing how you feel, great way to get ideas, especially since a lot of us are feeling a lot of things right now. Not a bad way to go for this project. I do have a folder on Schoology full of drawing prompts where if you're not sure what to draw and it's just easier for somebody to just tell you what to draw, go dig through those drawing prompts, pick a section, take those like 10 things, draw them, put them into a thing, and you're done, okay? Remember, for this rough draft, I want you to start by drawing badly. I'm not expecting a perfect, pristine drawing here. However, I am expecting you to have all of your details in place, okay? If you can't come up with one really solid, amazing, perfect idea, do 10, okay? Do 10 smaller ones. Put those smaller ideas together. Make one big one. Also, you can draw your own universe. That's my preference, is to draw the things that are impacting my life right now, the things that are important to me right now. So I chose to draw my universe for my examples. You're going to see those in a little bit. Here are some of the qualities of the rough draft that I'm looking for. These are the requirements. Please pay attention. If you haven't watched anything else up to this point, this is the slide that's you need to know. Quality. I'm expecting this final piece to be a high quality piece of art. That means your rough draft needs to be quality as well, okay? So please take your time and be thoughtful with your plan. Do not rush through it. You need to spend a minimum of 15 minutes on it. I wouldn't do any more than 30, okay? Quality. I'm expecting quality work. Detailed. Please make sure your details are in place. I'd rather you have too many details than not enough details. If you're being really simple with this project, you're probably not going to do very well. I'm expecting you to get really kind of complicated with this. So don't leave your ideas out. Get everything down. It's okay if everything is messy. Just make sure you're using materials that you can go back in and adjust. So if you're planning on making physical pieces of art on a piece of paper or a canvas or whatever it is you're using, use a pencil so you can go back and erase later. You can also go digital with this. I went digital with mine. Totally on the table if you want to be a digital artist for this project. Just make sure that whatever materials you're using or tools, that there's a way for you to go in and erase or make adjustments or redo or undo or any of those things, okay? Finally, this is a rough draft for a reason. Part of our process this time is for you to go back and make revisions, updates, additions, or changes to your artwork. Do not turn in a final piece of work this week. If you turn in a final piece of work, I'm going to send it back to you and expect you to make pretty significant changes to it. So please take it easy on yourself. Just do the rough draft. Don't turn in final work this week. Here's an example of one way I went. This is a full page doodle. So I'm just going to talk through it really fast. I chose to draw my universe. I have a lot of plants that I'm working and growing for my garden right now. So I focused on flowers. You can see I started with bigger objects and I added some smaller details later. I went back and I cleaned up with my eraser tool to make the drawing look a little bit easier to manage. And I didn't add any color or any fill yet. This is just a line drawing. I have another example here too that I worked on this weekend. This is kind of a combination between a pattern set, but it's also nouns. Yes, you can combine approaches if you'd like. So again, I'm taking inspiration from my own universe. I have a little toad that lives in my backyard. He's been there for the last year or so, and I'm excited about it. So here you can see I started by drawing the more difficult item. I started by drawing the toad, and I used references to help me get a better idea of how I wanted my toad to look, okay? I added smaller or less detailed items around my toad. So the leaves, the dirt clumps, the tools, the flies, they're all a little bit simpler than the toad was. And then I finalized my design by outlining it in ink to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see what I was drawing, okay? All my details are there. There is no fill, there is no color, but all of my details are there. Here are what those examples look like in a final. They're done. I'm not doing any more work to them at this point. So I went in, I added full color to this page. That's why it's a full page doodle, is there's not a lot of naked space left over. Everything is addressed and there's lots and lots to look at. This is, again, it's either a pattern or you can consider it nouns. But I went in and I filled in just the objects, and I have lots of naked space around the objects for your eyes to rest. Please don't forget, variety does not mean randomness. It's not just a free-for-all, okay? There is typically a common link that unites all of the elements together, and that is usually style or theme. So if you have some kind of idea of, like I did, I wanted to theme my whole thing around my garden, I used a theme to unite all my elements. Mr. Doodle, doesn't necessarily have a theme for his drawings, but he draws everything in the same style, and that is really important to making variety successful. So make sure you're linking your elements together through style, mood, theme, color scheme, lightweight, line weight, and anything else you can think of. As always, you guys, thank you for your time. Thank you for your brain space today. If you have any questions, please look at the resources on Schoology. Then you can come contact with me if you're still confused. The best way to get a hold of me is Google Hangouts. The second best way to get a hold of me is on Schoology. So send your questions my way. I'm really excited to see just your rough drafts this week. And yes, enjoy the process.